How are we doing? And welcome back to another video. This is Dana White's Contender Series, week number dos. Week number two, guys. Dana White Contender Series on Tuesdays. The first week was filled with boring fights, but also filled with Tennant's hype train by Sengar Sursakayev. We saw him on Tuesday get a nice teep kick up the middle, put Murtaza Talha down on the ground, and then he fought 4 days later on 319. Eric Nolan was actually better than I thought he'd be in that matchup. He actually had pretty clean hands, but Sursakayev just said, fuck it, I'll take him to the ground and sub him. It was that easy. It was just like that. Baisanger Sursakayev, please, please, please watch out for. He had the lock symbol beside his name on the Contender Series and on the UFC 319. Hopefully this week is going to be better, and I do believe it is going to be better. There is some banger matchups here, and after Dana giving a warning there, guys, saying, those fights were shit. Riley De Silva, I got the underdog pick on him, but I almost didn't want to. You are terrible, Riley De Silva. Like, who goes on Dana White Contender Series and just wet blanket someone for 3 rounds? How is that going to get you a contract, brother? Dana White wants finishes. You showed good technique and you showed that you were reliable and you have a great ground game, but you didn't do anything with it. You just literally laid on him. If you're threatening subs and if you're transitioning to the back, to the front, to the mount, to the half guard, then maybe there's a different thing there. But Bradley De Silva, that was terrible. I don't even know what to say. But we hit our dog on him, so I'm not gonna rat on him that much. Our only play we lost was Yuri Panfarov against Christopher Ewart. Ewart looked terrible. He looked fat. He looked sloppy. He did not look good at all. We probably won't see him again. I thought Yuri Panfarov looked pretty good, to be honest. I thought he looked pretty good, and his hands were very, very clean, way better than they were back in the day, and he kind of took this fight exactly where he wanted. I thought Yuri Panfarov looked fantastic, and I thought he deserved a contract. But I'm not Dana White, so I cannot say that. Other fight, Ty Miller looked good. Hands look clean. He's just very, very lanky and skinny. I agree with Dana. Needs to get to the PI and work. And then the main fight of the night, we had the staring contest. One of the worst fights I've ever watched in my life. Riley De Silva versus George Mangos, Buatia, whatever his name is, and fucking Nisimus or whatever. Terrible fights. Those guys should never see the Contender Series ever again, especially Nemius and Buafia. Maybe you give George Mangos another go in a little bit, but De Silva, you're not coming back on. Buafia, you're not coming back on. And Nemius, you're not coming back on. Terrible fights. Terrible first impressions trying to win a contract. But let's move on to this week's card. We have Tommy Kuzio. Let's try it again. We have Tommy Kuzosi. That's a crazy name to say. Against Romario Jimenez. Guys, this is actually a very good fight. I'm going to call him just Tommy because I cannot pronounce that last name for the life of me. Tommy, he has great hands. Tommy, in the first round, he comes out guns blazing. He tries to knock your head off. He's very, very good on the feet, but he lacks the ground game, in my opinion here. Tommy has also fought the lower competition in this fight here. Ramiro Jimenez actually has a couple good wins. Tommy has one good win. He has one good win, but Ramiro Jimenez actually has a bunch of good wins, and he's actually way more complete than Tommy. He's decent on the feet. He has good hands. He's kind of more of a build fighter. He starts a bit slower in the first round. Even though he has some finishes in the first round, he starts a bit slow, and then he takes over, and he gets his reads. His wrestling is better. He can get this fight to the ground, in my opinion, whenever he wants. I think Romario Jimenez wins this fight inside the distance. Give me Romario Jimenez in this matchup. Next, we have Josh Hoike against Guilherme Uriel. These are some crazy names. Josh Hoike, he is probably CTE. He suffers from CTE. Josh Hoike literally stares at you and will throw bombs. Josh Hoike on the overhands, the hooks, he sits on his punches. He is kill or be killed. And in his career, he has been killing people. Am I messing this up, actually? Right? Yeah, no, I am good, yeah. Guilherme Uriel, he's the better in my opinion, I think he's the better. I am messing this up. Oh my gosh. Okay, guys, I'm tripping. Anyways, Guillermo Uriel is the guy that comes forward throwing bombs, absolute bombs and haymakers. He has great hook. He sits on every single one of his punches. He goes for the KO, and he's kill or be killed. It's normally been successful for him in his career. He's 6-1. He's fought decent level competition, but nothing crazy. Can't believe I actually messed that up. Anyways, yeah, he sits on his punches. He throws absolute haymakers. He's so fun to watch, but he is killer be killed. He has a bunch of round one KOs. He's fighting Josh Hokic. Josh Hokic is a complete fighter for this, 265 heavyweight division. He has grappling. I think he's going to go there and he's going to try and get subs. But also with Josh, he knows that he can't just wet blanket over 3 rounds. He knows he has to get a finish. I think Josh can mount this guy and get him out of there. He just needs to survive the storm in the first round. So I do have Josh Hokic in this matchup because he is the more well-rounded fighter. Next, we have Lewis Lee Scott against Kashuk Shukmar. Lewis Lee Scott, very, very good fighter. He showed very, very good takedown defense in his fights when he's 9-0. And that's all Kashuk Shamar looks for is the takedowns, is the clinch, and he's not going to get it here against Lewis Lee Scott. Kashuk Shamar has a weird fighting stance where he holds his hands like this beside his head. It's not a traditional, his elbows in, it's like this. This leaves him wide open to the face and more importantly to the body. And I think Lewis Lee Scott is going to be able to work the body in this matchup. He's going to be able to hit some nice body shots. And then once the hands kind of drop a little bit, bang, straight right down the pipe. Lewis Lee Scott will KO this guy. Give me him in this matchup. Next, we have Brandon Holmes against Cam Rouston. Guys, if Cam Rouston sounds familiar to you, it's because he is. He fought Torres Finney-Smith on the Contender Series last year. Cam Rouston is a great fighter. He's a great striker. More importantly, Cam Rouston has very, very good technique, and he's extremely long as well. Cam Rouston, his wrestling was exposed by Torres Finney, but Torres Finney's a 5'8 middleweight who's literally a bowler. That's all you can really say. Cam Rouston, he's going to be fighting Brandon Holmes. Brandon Holmes is, I guess, he's not like an nut hugger fighter. He will mix in the wrestling. He will mix in the striking. This is going to be a really, really good matchup, a really close matchup as well. If Brandon Holmes leans on the wrestling and Cam Rouston has not got any better at his defense, at his takedown defense, then Brandon Holmes will win this fight. But I believe Cam Rouston is the better striker. I believe he's worked on his takedown defense, and he's also gotten a couple wins on the regional scene. The problem is he hasn't fought anyone great after those last 3 wins, so it's kind of hard to tell here. I am going to lean the dog here in Cam Rouston. I liked his striking on the Contender Series last time. I think his striking gets it done here. I think Brandon Holmes will stand and bang with this guy for a little bit, and I think Cam Rouston's takedown defense has gotten better. Next, we have Jose Delano against Manuel Exposito. This is the main fight of the card, guys. This is going to be a good fight, in my opinion. Both guys are absolute dogs in this matchup. We have Antonio Ramirez he fought, Rodriguez he fought. These are all regional guys that he's fighting right now, which kind of concerns me here because Jose Delano is actually really, really good. He's very, very clean, and he's actually fought good level competition. In my opinion, I think he absolutely steamrolls Manuel Exposito. His boxing is better. His cardio is better. I don't think Manuel Exposito can compete in this matchup. I think this fight is set up for Jose Delano to win. So, yet again, guys, my picks for this card, we're going to have one dog, which is going to be Cam Rouston. Let's see if I can get back. Yeah, here we go. It's going to be Cam Rouston as our dog. We are going to go with Ramiro Jimenez. We're going to go with Josh Hoke. We're going to go Lewis Lee Scott, Cam Rouston, and Jose Delano. One dog. My lock of the night. Who's my lock of the night going to be? I think I'm most confident in Jose Delano or Lewis Lee Scott. Those are my 2 most confident. I am going to go Lewis Lee Scott as the lock of the night. The official play is him. That is my breakdown, guys. Comment what you think is wrong, what is right. If you like my picks, if you don't, and have a blessed day.